viewers and learners of the MEVE 001 Environmental Impact Assessment for Environmental Health course. I introduce myself as Dr. Sushmita Bhaskar, working in the discipline of Environmental Studies at the School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Now we will discuss the examples of noise impact assessment. So in the previous sessions you would also have understood about noise, the impacts of noise on the human health, the structure of the human ear and how delicate this is, even to the smallest sounds, the rustling of the leaves or the gentle blowing of the wind, or whether the jet aircrafts or the flights, the train sounds, the booming ultrasonic noises and so on. So how sensitive we are to these sounds and how the noise impact assessment can be done at a site, this we will now see in this session. So the learning objectives of this include, after listening to and reading this module, you should be able to describe some examples of the noise impact assessment studies. Now as I said before, environmental noise has always been with us from the beginning. Like it could be due to lightning or the thunderstorms, due to the rustling of the leaves by the wind. You can even have noise from the natural processes. Frequently even in the natural sources like the streams that are flowing from the rivers, then various bird and the animal sounds, and also natural hazards. Sometimes there can be sounds, the nature can be furious. So all these are the environmental sounds, but this does not impact our health as we are actually seeing the human based sounds or the anthropogenic sounds which are giving rise to the high noise pollution levels. But with the advent of the industrial society, there has been an explosion in the number of man-made sources. Ever since man started to use the primitive tools, noise has been the unwanted side effect. So all the noise is not unwanted. The music is very soft to the ear and so on. Mechanized transport, that has transformed our way of life. In many countries, if you see, the honking is not allowed, and the people will be fined for honking the streets. In the same way, the transport that is being used, whether it is a motor vehicle, whether it is a bike or whether it is a car, they will all have the shock absorbers, they have the acoustic absorbers, and so no sound is being released. There are silencers there. But maybe in the developing countries, in the poor, in the low and the middle income countries, we find that the transport noise is too much and honking is also too much on the road, and people feel that by honking they can get faster to their destinations. So such noise from the train, trams, flights, road noise, from processions, strikes are all unwanted noise, and thereby the health and the environment are truly affected. Nearly all the industrial process, whether it can be food, clothing, tool, the toy production, mineral extraction, waste disposal, all this can involve the noisy machinery. So all this noise has come to be known as the environmental noise, and this is also measured outdoors. Indoors also, in the industrial sector also, we can have the indoor noise. By implication, any sound that is created but is unwelcome, because music is now soft to your ear, so we cannot categorize that as noise. Noise is something which is unpleasant to your ear and which is actually hampering your hearing. So that could be a rock concert, it could be from a local factory, from an airport, from a road, and all this has an impact and it may need certain monitoring and control measures. This is basically the essence of the noise impact assessment. Measurement of the noise and noise units, this is normally done in any impact assessment study. Noise is created by causing small fluctuations in air pressure, and these fluctuations are generally caused by the vibrating surfaces. An obvious and common example of this is a loudspeaker. So this generates sound intentionally, and by these means, even in the political rallies, in the Diwali time, even when people want to give something on sale, they use the loudspeakers and they go on the roads. I am specifically giving a context in our country, that is India. So the level of this fluctuations can be large because some of them may have very loud voices. They may be employing or using those songs at very high levels, which can be damaging to the ears. And the elderly and the young children are vulnerable because their eardrums would be affected. So this can cause instant hearing damage. That hearing damage also can be temporary and it can also be permanent. The human ear is a very sophisticated sensing instrument and it allows us to hear all the sounds that are useful to us, but it can be damaged by the very high sound levels. A good quality noise impact assessment, what will that determine? It will determine the existing noise level, that is the baseline noise at the proposed development, because if we are proposing any kind of a construction, for example a new building is to be come up at one place. So, how are we going to estimate the impact of the noise that is going to come there? So, first you will estimate the existing noise that is there, the baseline noise at the proposed site of the development. Then you will see what are the technologies that they are going to employ and then predict the level of impact that the new proposal will have on the existing noise climate. The specific type of noise impact assessment methodology will vary depending on the type of noise source also that is of interest. However, a quality noise impact assessment will essentially involve measuring the existing noise climate that is associated with the development, as well as assessing the impact that the new proposal is likely to have on this noise climate. Now, there are many different types of noise that can potentially impact the surrounding area. That may be the railway, the aircraft, the road traffic and the industrial noise. Noise exists in all facets of life and it is a problem when it significantly impacts the people who really do not want to hear it, and of course, when that creates an impact on the human acoustic system. The main purpose of a noise impact assessment is not to determine if a project is likely to cause noise, but if that project will likely cause or significantly it can cause adverse impacts on the environment as well as the human health and the residents who are actually staying in that area. The experts who are involved, they will help to mitigate the impacts of the noise through realistic tailored acoustic solutions. Noise impact assessment. So, it is a detailed noise survey which is often required for the planning applications. They are requested by the local authorities in order to establish the environmental noise impacts of a project or a development. It is an analytical examination of noise that emits from a facility, and its significance is relative to local regulatory limit and what needs to be done to ensure that the facility is in compliance. An effective NIA, that is noise impact assessment, it will include the following steps. You will require specialized technicians who take specific and detailed measurements of the various noise at a facility. The sound power data received is derived from the existing on-site equipment data manufacturer's data. Sound pressure measurements and theoretical calculations are derived. A report is produced that provides accurate noise levels that may be out of compliance and impacting a specific radiance from the facility and nearby residents. A detailed source order ranking table is provided, identifying and prioritizing the loudest noise sources that require attenuation. A permissible sound level is established based on the distance, the dwelling unit density, proximity to transportation corridors, along with engineered noise control recommendations. Jet engines, for example, the performance of a turbojet engine, it determines the sound which has severe problem due to intensity of both ecological and also constructive dangers. So, noise has become an important parameter that has to be taken into account in the design of the aircrafts, so that they can be silenced to the extent possible. So, restrictive noise with all the consequences becomes a necessity. Aircraft noise outfitted with the turbojet engines, this has major reasons, and that includes a mixing of gases that are leaving the engine with ambient air, pulsations in the fuel system of the engine that can produce variation in the output speed of the blades, density jumps of the supersonic flight by which the airflow can interact with the engine exhaust, turbulent jet flow which can generate noise, blade vibrations of components that can also cause disturbances of airflow and gas. So, in general, the type of the noise that is created by the aircraft, all that is also being monitored and we can silence them as far as possible. The principle of operation depends upon the chemical transformation of potential energy of fuel into mechanical energy in case of these aircrafts. So, the operation step will consist of aspiration of the atmospheric air through an intake device, compressing the air by a compressor, air mixture in a combustion chamber, expanding gases of the combustion turbine, expanding gases in the outlet device. All this will create noise in the process. Noise in commercial and public buildings. So, noise can be created by construction work and it can include the following. For example, in demolition work, site preparation work, building maintenance or repair. You would have often seen that, for example, when they are fixing tiles, pavement tiles, or even the new type of granite or marbles, when you want to renovate your buildings and houses or the offices, then the sound which is from the tile cutting machine, it is so shrill and it is so annoying that can actually damage. So, the people who are cutting those tiles need to wear certain ear mufflers to protect their ears. Then the operation of vehicles within or leaving the construction site. For example, to put the lintel, or the top of those construction places, the ceiling, there you require certain the mixing machines, where the cement, the sand, the gravel and all that is actually mixed equally, and then those machines actually lay that. So, all this creates lot of sound. So, the activities that are carried out near the immediate vicinity of the construction site, the citizens who are staying there, those people who are executing the work at the site, all the impacts over here have to be taken into account at the work site. In the same way, metallurgical industries, ceramic industries, here also you can categorize them as primary, secondary and metal production processes. Primary means the production of metal from the ore. Secondary includes production of alloys from the ingots and recovery of the metal from the salvage and the scrap. Power system, this includes the vehicle and vehicle speed. Non-power system includes car horns, etc. So, attenuation of noise in the industry is difficult because the machines and the enclosures are diverse in nature and the acoustic characterization is not as simple as we think. Noise produced by electrical arc furnace, this also causes severe health and amenity problem for the people working in the steel melting shops. So, this effect of all this noise, it depends on the intensity, the frequency of the noise, the time and the duration of a particular exposure, the total exposure, like how long you are being exposed to it, age of the person, and most importantly the individual susceptibility and tolerance limits of a person. Hearing impairment can be temporary or it can be permanent, and it is due to the common physiological effect of the noise. Let us now see the assessment of noise impact associated with the construction industry or construction purposes. The main noise impact should be first identified. The baseline noise first has to be identified. Construction phase. Now, during construction, now when this project comes to you, you should see that the noise generated from the construction activity, like I told you, from the tile cutting machine, from the lentil processing, those machines, the tractors, the buses or the lorries that are going to come and give you the supplies, the loading and unloading of the materials, power related mechanical equipment, all this has a potential to give adverse noise impacts to the surrounding sensitive receivers. Operational phase. The future noise environment, this will be affected by road traffic noise, rail noise, fixed noise sources such as the pumping station sources, the rail station and the ventilation system. So, appropriate mitigation measures should be recommended wherever necessary in order to mitigate adverse impacts. The study area has to be assessed. So, for example, the assessment area you have to outline that. For example, let us give 300 meters from the study area. And this study area, it can also be reduced if there is a first layer of the noise sensitive receiver which is closer from the boundary, and it can provide acoustic shielding to the receivers at further distance behind. So, you need to identify the noise assessment study area. Then you need to describe the noise environment. Major land uses that are close to the proposed development are residential, are there recreational places, are there any educational institutions, then the existing noise in that area, is it dominated by traffic noise, industrial noise and so on. That is which is already existing, what are the noise which are existing there. Then current, you see after the current you are seeing the construction noise which is associated, which will be associated once you start it, and then the ambient noise level in that area, you need to calculate this. Noise assessment criteria. In this, the construction noise criteria need to be given. So, the principal laws and guidelines on the control of the construction noise should be taken into account. Assessing the noise from construction activities during daytime. Details of the environmental legislation and standards for construction noise should be noted. The noise standards for general construction work during the normal working hours should be noted. Potential sources of the impact. So, you need to see the various infrastructure to be observed. The road, the water supply, drainage, sewerage system, ancillary facilities, pumping stations. We need to indicate the likely noise impact. The construction noise level is predicted according to the construction program. What type of construction activity are you going to conduct? Is the project proposing? The construction activity that will be undertaken which can cause a potential construction noise impact will have to be identified, it has to be written down clearly and we calculate the impact based on that. Then that can include the site information, the road construction, then even in the road construction you can have upgrading, you can have widening of the road, you can have the placing of the drains, then of the sewers, then there can be water reticulation systems, then construction of buildings. So, what type of activity is to be undertaken, that also needs to be assessed, because every activity will create a different type of noise level. Then assessing the potential cumulative impacts on the area and also on the residents who are residing in that area. Then the construction equipment, the type of the equipment, the quantity of the powered mechanical equipment. So, some of the equipments, those which we are using in our country, that may be very noisy and they may be less costly also, because we need to see which are the low cost effective solutions also. But maybe in the developed countries and in their end they may be using the silencers and the silenced mechanical equipment which do not create so much of noise level problems. Then the environmental engineers and trained personnel are required in order to design this project effectively, because they will give you the realistic solutions. Realistic and practical approaches are given by them in order to meet the construction program's objectives. Construction schedule and the program. So, you need to see the number of hours that are proposed, the number of years that will take in order to complete the entire construction program and the likely impacts that will be caused by the proposed project. Assessment methodology and assumptions. So, this is conducted based on standard acoustic principles and it involves the following steps: identification of the most likely worst case scenario from the construction program, identification of noise source equipments, calculation of the total sound power level of equipment to be used, calculation of distance attenuation from work site noise source point, comparison of the predicted noise levels with the relevant noise criteria. Mitigation measures. After predicting the noise levels, adverse daytime noise impacts also you have to check. Then mitigation measures will be then given, they are required. So, for example, you can use a quiet plant, silenced equipments can provide significant reduction in the noise level. Use of movable and mobile barriers. In order to temporarily relieve that noise from that area, you can use certain screens and particular items of the plant that give the noisy operation. Movable barriers of 3 or 5 meter height with a small cantilevered upper portion, and that can be located a few meters in that place, that is where generators and compressors, all these will give out lot of sound. And even 5 meters or more mobile equipments like excavators, mobile cranes, there all if we can keep the mobile barriers, then temporarily there will be reduction of the sound. Then the contractor should also provide purpose built noise barriers and screens which are located close to the operating equipment. Certain types of stationary equipment like generators and compressors, they can be completely screened by the movable barrier and it can reduce the noise reduction up to 10 decibels and more. Movable noise barriers also, they can achieve a substantial reduction in the noise decibels for reduction in the stationary plant and also for the mobile plants. Noisy equipment should be sited by the contractor as far from the close proximity sensitive receivers as practical, and prolonged operation close to residential areas should be avoided. Then again, the contractor should minimize the construction noise exposure to the school during exam time if the construction is going to take place. Then they should contact with the school authorities to check out the exam time, the date, because otherwise it will be very harassing and noisy for the children who are taking up their board exams or other half yearly or yearly annual exams. During the construction activity, the noisy activities can be reduced or minimized. Then noisy plant and processes should be replaced by the quieter alternatives wherever possible. Therefore, you can have silenced diesel and gasoline generators, power units, silenced and super silenced air compressors, they can be obtained. Then the noisy activities can be minimized. For example, the noisy activities can be scheduled for the midday or at times which are coinciding the background levels of high noise. Like peak traffic hours, when there is lot of honking and lot of noise, maybe we can keep the noisy activities during then, so that that will merge along with the background noise. Idle equipment. If you are not using an equipment for a long time, then you should turn it off or throttle them down, so that that is not giving lot of noise. And again, the power units of the non-electric stationary plant, the earth moving plant, they should all be quietened by vibration isolation. partial or full acoustic enclosure so that these noise generating components will be giving less sound. Construction plant should be properly maintained, that is, it should be well greased, well oiled. The damaged and the worn parts should also be promptly replaced and attended to. Then the equipment that are known to emit in one direction, that also should be oriented so that the noise is directed away from the residential areas. Let us now estimate the impact of transportation noise on human health. So, the transport noise also, the people are exposed to transport noise of various kinds, and taking actions to amend this in the sensitive areas is important. So, reducing the noise at the power of supply by altering the design of vehicles on the road, and it also depends on the type of vehicle. That is why from time to time people are advised to change their vehicles. The old models are being banned, using them are banned on the roads, and the operating conditions of those vehicles also are to be defined. So, following sources can be identified: powertrain noise, rolling noise, structure borne noise, aerodynamic noise. And according to the experts from the European Union, nearby 20% of the European population is suffering from the unacceptable noise level, which can have long-term impacts on the health, and recent studies have highlighted the medical impact of environmental noise. So, you can see how important it is. Now, these are the impacts of traffic noise. It causes health problems, it also causes the annoyance. Okay, for example, they can have cardiovascular problem, you can have the health problem like gastrointestinal, cardiac ailments and so on, stress. Then the hormones are released, stress hormones are released due to the effects of the noise. Numerical and computational modeling can be done. So, the noise impact prediction, sound quality assessment such as echo and reverberation, speech intelligibility and determination of acoustic construction requirement, they can be done using computational noise modeling. For the design of the acoustic control measure and accurate prediction, sophisticated computer modeling tools can be used. A variety of acoustic software packages, they can include the CADNA, then the ENM for the environmental and source noise prediction. So, like that, certain numerical and the computational modelings also exist in order to design for the environmental impact assessment of noise. Then there are instrumental methods like the octave band analyzers, sound level meters, noise average meter, noise dosimeters, recorders, magnetic tape, cassette and pen, noise survey meters, acoustic calibrator, sound scope meter and statistical analyzers. All this are used to quantify and classify the physical properties of sound on the basis of physical parameters such as duration and the amplitude. So, dear learners and viewers, in this module we have discussed the different noise environmental impacts, and certain examples we have given as to how to analyze and how to predict the impact assessment of the developmental projects. We have specially given importance to the transportation noise and construction noise. So, like that there can be other type of noise also where you can go for, you can analyze them. So, when you get certain projects and the proposals, we need to analyze the background noise, the existing baseline noise and the instruments or the equipments that will be used for the construction activities and what type of noise they will generate. Then we can come to some theoretical conclusion and we can propose certain mitigation measures or the type of instruments or the gadgets that can be used, the silencers that can be used in order to limit the amount of noise and minimize the noise that can be generated from these projects. I hope you had a good understanding of the same. Thank you.